Hey everybody, welcome back to the Outcomes Rocket. So excited you tuned in. Today, I have the privilege of hosting Brian Cosgray on the podcast. He is the CEO of Elevate and is responsible for defining the overall vision and strategy for the company. He's well known for leveling up both new startups as well as established firms' revenue growth and product evolution alike, and ultimately revolutionizing the consumer direct benefits industry. Brian's a sought-after thought leader, and he's been featured on top business publications like Forbes, the New York Times, the Atlanta Business Chronicle, and we're excited to have him here on the Outcomes Rocket. Brian, so glad you're here.
Wow, what an intro. Saul, thanks for having me today.
Sometimes, no, it's a pleasure, Brian. And sometimes you do certain things and you sort of take a pause and you're like, wow, I've actually done that stuff.
Feels like it all happened in an instant. Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun, Brian. And look, just for our listeners to get a chance to get to know you better, tell us a little bit about you and what inspires your work in healthcare.
Yeah, so we're a little bit different than a lot of your guests. We don't treat patients. We're a company that provides benefit accounts, typically a health savings account, a flexible spending account, or a health reimbursement arrangement. These are pre-tax accounts an employee can get through their employer to help pay for out-of-pocket healthcare cost. So we're a little bit adjacent to a lot of your normal guests, but everybody has to get paid, and paying for healthcare is certainly an important part of it.
Yeah, well, listen, Brian, still very relevant. Obviously, the operations of healthcare, a big part of it is how it gets paid for. And with the rising premiums, there's got to be vehicles for employees to pay for these things and employers to provide their employees. So very relevant nonetheless.
Yeah, it seems like the cost of everything is going up, right? Every time I go to the grocery store, certainly for our own company, every time we get our annual premium estimation for healthcare, it all continues to rise. So finding a way to help people, do more with the same amount of money is an important thing for people.
Agreed. And you know what? We have our listeners are a lot of employers. So this will be great for them to hear. It's always great to understand what the options are out there to take care of the employees. So let's dig in. Tell us about Elevate. What does the company do and how are you adding value to the ecosystem?
Yeah. So kind of just quickly on how these benefit accounts came about, right? They were authorized by Section 125 of the IRS code, which allows for some pre-tax or some healthcare expenses to be paid for in a pre-tax way. So you have these accounts where you can set aside money through payroll contributions. And if the old way this started was you went to the doctor or the hospital or the pharmacy, you paid for something out of pocket, you brought the receipt to your nice HR person. And if it met all of the criteria from the IRS to be an eligible expense, they would reimburse you on a paycheck or two later, right? Then the dot-com era came along. We started doing business on the web. And there were great companies like my co-founder, Brian Strom, started a company called Connect Your Care back in the 2000s. WageWorks is another one that's well known that enabled people to submit these claims online. Maybe they attached a debit card to it. But kind of the dirty secret of our industry is after the claim submission process, that process really didn't change. It was very manual. People were processing those claims. It took a long time. And it's kind of a confusing process for people that don't do this all the time. Mm-hmm. Our North Star is how do we use technology to take all the friction out of that process and make it easier for employees and their families to access and use these benefits.
I love that. I think that we all need healthcare to be simpler and consumer friendly. So I think it's great. Yeah. And it's great that you're focused there. On the consumer front, we always need more of this and it's not always easy. So talk to us about how what you do is different or better than what's available to most today.
Well, the thing that makes Elevate different from so many other startups is we've assembled kind of this all-star cast of experts. We all have deep industry experience. Like I mentioned, my co-founder and our CTO, Brian Strom, built one of these original platforms. And so, it's now 20 years later, right? A lot has changed in technology. We have mobile, we have AI. We have this great system of connectors called APIs that allow us to work with other platforms and software platforms that are out there. None of those things existed 20 years ago, and all of these are designed to make the experience easier. So, the way I like to describe it is we took the old workflow that I originally described of going to your HR person and submitting that claim and said, how do we simplify all of this, right? And it's using technology to replace, the people that were behind the scenes doing this. And what that, ends up doing for the employee and their families is it makes it easier, it makes it cheaper, and most importantly, it makes it real time. So the workflow I like to describe is the old way is, I have a family, I have young children, right? One of them's homesick today. You go to the doctor, you pay for some money out of pocket, right? Because you forgot your card, right? Your benefit card. And, most people need that money back to go buy groceries, right? And it's a confusing process. You have to fax something in. Who has a fax machine anymore? Right? And then, maybe you forgot to include something. You submitted a receipt, but not an explanation of benefits, and it doesn't have the right information on there. So you get a letter. 10 days later, it reads like a demand letter from a law firm instead of something, that's crisp and clean and helps you take action. And so we threw all of that out and we said, I want a solution that when somebody goes to the doctor, like I'm describing, and they have to pay out of pocket because they forgot their card, they could take a picture right there, submit the claim. Our AI processes that instantly, and that money is back in their bank account so they can go to the grocery store on the way home.
Amazing. That's that fast.
It's that fast.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, music to, I think, a lot of people's ears to have that type of speed in healthcare. It's certainly not precedented. And so when you're working with things like this, it's sometimes difficult when you're trying to change workflows and trying to change the way that things are typically done. Talk to us about one of your biggest setbacks you've seen and a key learning that's come out of it.
Yeah, the biggest mistake that we made early on, and we're not the only ones to have made that, was really trying to sell directly to the employer. It makes all the logical sense in the world, right? These are the ones who are providing these benefits. And what we learned is to really take all of the friction out for the employee. We need to be able to embed these benefit accounts and that whole administration experience directly into whatever was the key portal that they were using to access their benefits. So the employer doesn't want 50 different solutions that an employee has to navigate through. What they want is one hub. That's typically something like benefits administration or payroll, or in the case of like a PEO, there's one place where they're going to pick their benefits, see their paycheck, and access these ancillary benefits. And so through a technology innovation that I described earlier, APIs, which just means application programming interface. It's a way to embed some types of software into other types of software, something that didn't exist 20 years ago. We're able to embed our solution into those primary points of contact for the employee. And that really takes so much of the friction out of it. We can get the data over easily. We can enroll them easier. So what it ends up creating is higher usage and utilization, and then they take advantage of the benefits more, which is really the most important part of it. And so that was just a big change that we had to make. It's always tough. We had to say goodbye to some of our salespeople and add different salespeople in. But we added over 5,000 employers last year. We'll more than double that this year and are now serving hundreds of thousands of employees. And so if you start to imagine football stadiums full of people using your product, and that you're helping all those people, it's a great way to live.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It's a testament to the move that you guys made, the learnings that you're able to really integrate into the platform. And so today, who are you looking to hear this message? Are you speaking to the employers? Are you speaking to benefits brokers? Who are we targeting here?
Yeah, all of the above. So what we found is the best way for employees to access these benefits, the easiest way for the employer to deliver these benefits to their employees is to kind of go through that primary portal. And that's how we distribute these. We don't sell directly to employers anymore. And so it's partners like a PEO, like Rippling, a payroll company like Augusto, a health plan, right? That's a big provider of our benefits, or even a financial institution, perhaps somebody that offers 401ks. And then there's third-party administrators that specialize in the servicing of these participants as well. So those are all great distribution points and what we would consider partners. And so it's like the old Aflac, ask about it at work, right? Ask your third-party administrator if you use one, ask your PEO if you use one, ask your payroll provider, ask your 401k provider. Are they offering these benefits? And who is the solution behind the administration of those benefits? Because there's only a handful of us that really do this. And are you getting the most modern platform and offering that to your employees so they can have a friction-free experience?
That's great. So in essence, what you guys do is behind the scenes. You come in, you have this tech stack that delivers this speedy transaction, and really the face of it is usually like the platform that the employee is using, right?
That's exactly right. And that's really that partner of ours that we want to celebrate and promote. And it's what makes it easy for the employee, right? They just want to go to one place. Mm-hmm. Employees have a lot of these benefits when they work for a great employer, but it's hard to navigate if you have to go to a million different places. So one card, no matter how many accounts you have, one place, and real-time access to your money. Those are the most important things.
That's really great, Brian. Thank you for laying that out for us. And for everybody listening that is on that side of the house, you have a platform, you're part of a 401k, you are a benefits broker, and you're looking for a better way. Certainly, Elevate is that company that you should consider for those workflows, seamless integrations, bringing that consumer experience, right? If you're not thinking about that experience for the end user, the employee, that live that you're insuring, you're going to get left in the dust because the players are coming in and they are making moves. If you're not making them, you will get left behind. So we talked a lot about APIs, Brian, and how you guys basically seamlessly operationalize. What's a trend or technology beyond APIs that you want to highlight today?
Yeah, I would drop one letter and just say AI, right? And nice. I just listened to an interview with Ray Kurzweil last week, and he was talking about personalized drug trials, right? So you think about we're all different, and AI is going to revolutionize healthcare we're a very small part of it and just trying to help people pay their out-of-pocket costs. But if you think about diagnoses, right? Treatment plans, we react differently to different drugs, right? And so maybe once the AI understands more about you, they could almost run a virtual drug trial to see how you're going to react to a certain treatment before that even happens. And so I think it's a fascinating world. I think we're all going to, hopefully live a lot longer than our ancestors and a better quality of life too, right? And so we play a very small part in that overall ecosystem, but I think AI is going to revolutionize things in a way that we've just never seen before.
Love that. Totally agree. And just a chance to tee you guys up. At the beginning of our interview, you said you guys leverage AI in helping speed. Do you want to chat about that?
Yeah. So I think there's kind of like two big buckets of AI today, right? There's generative AI, and that's where you get kind of some of the crazy responses or pictures and things, we've seen in the headlines, and you don't really know what the AI is going to say. We don't do that today. What instead we do is operate within the confines of course, HIPAA, but also the criteria under Section 125 of the IRS code. So it's really to automate in real time business processes that were previously, taking a long time. And what that means is administrative costs are lower. The processing is more accurate. So we compare human processors versus the AI. And then most importantly, it's real time. So if somebody submits a claim, they can get an answer immediately. And then most importantly, and one of the most frustrating things about the old way of doing things is if there's something wrong, we can help them correct that in real time. So they're not waiting days for some sort of answer to show up in the mail.
Love it. It's all about responsiveness. And then what about engaging with you guys? Is it a license plus transaction fee, or how does that work?
Yeah, we do it on a per account per month basis. And our ideal customer profile typically is already in this space. They've had some frustrations with the current offerings and the limitations on older technology. And they're looking for, kind of a rip and replace solution that's going to enhance their gross margin, that's going to help them offer a better participant experience. And in some cases, they may have a really large install base and they just haven't been able to scale an older solution. And we can help them do that in a very seamless way through our integrations.
Very cool. It sounds like there's still a lot of legacy solutions out there.
There's a handful. They continue to consolidate every day. There's over 100 million Americans that use these pre-tax health benefit accounts. And what we like to say when referring to our incumbent predecessors is they're consolidating and we're innovating. And you kind of have to choose, right? So,
love that. Yeah, buying other health systems, as we see out there, doesn't necessarily improve your situation. It might buy you some time with distraction.
Yeah.
And that might be the case in your industry as well, Brian. So it sounds like you guys are definitely innovating and leading the charge there. Oh yeah, go ahead. You were going to comment on something.
Well, I was just going to say sometimes more is not better, right? It leads to employee confusion. And we're about keeping things simple and using technology to do that.
Love that. And as we like to say internally at our company, if you confuse, you lose.
That's right.
Love that you guys are all about innovation and being clear. Brian, we're here at the end. This has been a really informative meeting, and I really appreciate you sharing everything that you have with our audience. Can you leave us with the closing thought? And then the best place the listeners could get in touch with you if something that we discussed today resonated with them.
Yeah. So the first thing I would suggest is ask your provider of benefits today. We'd love to be part of that bundle. We're always accessible on the web at elevate.inc. And technology is going to continue to revolutionize how we access all of these points of care. Today, I pay my babysitters for my children with Venmo. It's instant and seamless, and paying for your healthcare should be the exact same way. We like to joke that we're not inventing new technology. We're just bringing the latest technology to a stale space. And that's exactly the case here at Elevate. And we can help you do the same for your employee population.
Brian, well, you have certainly elevated us today. And certainly for everybody listening, take advantage of our discussion. And most importantly, take advantage of the website that Brian shared. We'll leave it in the show notes for you to be able to reach out. Reshare this podcast with anybody you feel might benefit from our discussion today. And appreciate everybody tuning in. And Brian, thanks for being with us.
Saul, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.